Mackenzie, do you resonate with any of the characters in this movie?
No, I don't.
Really? That's kind of shocking.
Is that?
That's the bleached kid.
That looks like Blake. Show Mackenzie. Kind of looks like him. But
Make sure you put a picture of this
Looks
and
like
then
fucking.
but we're not
I'm cutting this.
We're not
Oh, okay.
Well, it's topical because Blake is the character from Gus Van Sant's film Last Days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they couldn't get the rights to Kurt Cobain, so they made a Kurt Cobain movie where the guy's name is Blake.
Wait, really?
Yeah, look it up.
Ooh, okay.
Wait, what's it called?
It's called Kurt. It's called Kurt Cobain.
Oh
No,
my.
no.
Anyways,
Okay.
that's how we're gonna do
Inspired
this.
by rock music later. Kurt Cobain.
I could go in first. I
Sure.
could start us off.
Sure.
This reminded me of Mommy. No,
No.
I'm kidding. I'm
Wait,
kidding.
why do you?
No, two reasons, and I am serious with these two reasons, but otherwise it's nothing like
Sure.
Mommy in the slightest, and I think this is definitely better than
Yeah.
Mommy.
Oh yeah.
But it's funny, I didn't even realize it until, well, I realized it, but the aspect ratio being shorter, like kind of a limited aspect
Oh,
ratio.
it changes? Or
No,
it's
it doesn't
just
change.
No, it don't
Okay,
change. It
I
is-
was gonna
Which
say,
is a Mommy thing.
If that's the truth, if that's
No,
how
it
is,
never
I-
changed.
Dude,
Yeah.
I never noticed.
That's proof that you're terrible at noticing.
aspect ratio. I never notice it.
Yeah.
You never noticed.
I never notice it.
No, I definitely pick it up.
Unless it's.
I mean,
like,
I didn't notice it until like a couple of minutes in. I would
Really?
say.
I never
know.
noticed
The first thing
it.
I noticed is this aspect ratio.
I never
didn't
notice it
bother.
unless they round the corners. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like in
yeah.
Godland.
Like in Godland, yeah.
Yeah, so that's when I notice it.
But yeah, that and also kind of like the shallow depth of field and sometimes the color because Mommy got like really yellow sometimes and this movie got like kind of yellow sometimes. It's not like I'm saying like this movie is like Mommy. I'm just saying like those two things. I was like, oh, weird.
The shallow aspect ratio is awesome in this.
Yeah, the shallow depth of field. You mean?
Depth of
Yeah,
field.
yeah. No, it is.
Shallow.
Aspect
Yeah.
ratio.
It's so shallow.
It's
They
shallow.
would make it
It's-
tiny.
yeah, it's
tiny.
Stupid.
No, yeah. I feel like I feel like I could say a lot about this. I'll try to save it just that way other people can speak.
Where to begin?
Meaning not just me and Chris. We'll try to because I don't know. I feel like sometimes me and Chris go off a lot.
Yeah. Like in a cool way.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Queen, like go off Queen.
Go off. Like, dude, yeah, these motherfuckers, let them on the mic.
Yeah. Pull my dick out.
Yeah, pull his dick out. Slap his dick.
Okay, I'm leaving just that part in. Pull his dick out, slap his dick.
That's all you get. Otherwise, you weren't here.
God, we're stupid. So I'll give it a bit of context because I think I almost, well, I feel like there's nothing really to spoil because it's kind of, when you know what it's about, it's kind of obvious what's going to happen.
I think I watched this the first time, probably like close to 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long, a while ago, and I don't think I knew what it was about.
Really?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Honestly, I think kind of knowing what it's about is better. I think. Maybe.
I think just going into it knowing it's about a school shooting actually adds to. I don't know.
Suspense.
I don't know if you would make it if it's cool to say like, oh, it adds to suspense and that's what it was
I
going
get
for.
it. Yeah,
But it definitely does.
Yeah.
Especially one of the first credits in the credits was the sound design.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely intentional.
Yeah, no.
So Michelle Haneke would hate this movie.
And so, but what I was gonna say was.
I'll tell you later.
Okay. But what I was gonna say was, the interesting thing is to me is I almost spoiled myself of this because I was watching this video. It was titled something like Ignoring the Obvious, and it was about the movie Elephant, and it was kind of like studying it. I watched like maybe like more than a quarter of it, and then I stopped just because I didn't want to look too much into it because I was like, oh, okay, I want to watch this.
Just watch it, yeah.
But I think that video, the title of that video alone is kind of the essence of this movie, you know what I mean? Because like, I'll just say this, I thought this was really good.
Yeah. Really
good. Like, it's pushing like great, honestly. It's pushing, kind of. I'm hesitant on some things, but I find it interesting that this really tried to avoid being like a cliche thing. Like, in my opinion, like, sure, there are some moments where, there's a little bit of touches of that, but, where it's like, oh, yeah, certain I don't know, characters or moments. I don't know how you want to put it. But in my opinion, it's not like this movie is trying hard to make you care about all these characters.
No.
Like, it's not an obvious effort.
No.
It's not
That's
trying
not
to...
the point of it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
puts
point
you
of
in
it.
the space.
Yeah, it's not trying to drill into you like, oh, these kids are evil, you know, like, oh,
Yeah.
and these kids are just so innocent, and like, you know, it's not that, you know, it stays away from that as much as possible, which I think is brilliant, because then it's more of an atmospheric thing. This movie's surprisingly quiet, despite the sound design that you mentioned, Carlo.
Yeah.
The sound design that you
Well,
mentioned.
no, but even mentioning the sound doesn't mean it has to be loud.
Exactly.
It's just deliberately what it is.
Well, no,
how
well,
it's crafted is
the point is
mostly what I meant by it.
Oh, yes. It's subtle, really. It's like there's definitely subtleties to this. And yeah, I really admire the way it handled the story. You know what I mean? Is like, I think it did a brilliant job of showing these characters and have you kind of understand through the little bits of detail that they give you, like kind of who they are, what they are, like, oh, whether they're someone who, you know, like those popular girls that were like talking at the lunch table, to that like, you know, timid girl, to the guy taking pictures, like just kind of this array of different human beings. And I love how they kind of walk through this school and you get the sense of how big this school is. And
It
like
feels
just
huge.
the gravity of it.
It feels huge. Yeah, I like how it's just another day.
Exactly.
Basically, that's all it really is. It's just,
Exactly.
we're just a fly on the wall, basically.
Precisely.
I really enjoy the way this is filmed.
A ghost.
I go.
No, because it's
I really
like,
enjoy the way it's filmed.
Yes.
The depth of field.
Yes.
I leaned over to Chris. I don't know if you heard me, but I was like, "Fuck this guy! He stole so many of my shot
Yeah.
ideas." But I like shit like this. You know me. I love long takes. I love stuff we're following one character,
Totally.
but then we grab onto something else, and then they come back in the frame, and we still follow it.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
really well done.
choreography.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think if we can like kind of bounce each
Sure,
other's
go ahead.
like how we use.
Yeah, I don't want to
how
say
we
too
do
much.
it.
So yeah, go
Save
ahead.
your-
It's just, I would agree. You said this avoids cliches
To
in
an
a
extent.
sense. To an extent, I think there were some pretty cringeworthy moments in this.
Yes.
There really are.
Honestly, the very ending.
Some, well, very ending, yes, but even throughout, it's like
Yeah.
I think it's like trying to write high schoolers or convincing children is
Yeah.
very tough.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
tough, and also I have a different viewpoint of it. If you know, I was in high school in like 2016 to 2018. It's different.
That's when Mackenzie was
But-
born.
Yeah. But I look at it like some of the stuff that he had the kids say, some of the dialogue,
Yeah.
some of the actual like discussion. That's like, this feels like a 30-year-old, 40-year-old man being like,
Yeah.
I'm so cool and hip with the kids, and it's like, can you believe that video games make kids violent? It's like, okay,
Yeah,
fuck off.
no,
right?
I knew that
Um,
when stuff like that was
and-
on screen. I knew that. I
And-
could tell that you would think it's like really bad.
It's kind of cringy, and it's
I
kind of
agree.
like
Those are the
I don't
most
want to say
yeah.
pushing an agenda because that's kind of stupid. I
Yeah.
don't mean to look at it that way,
It's
but
like
it's
a
like
PSA.
yeah, it
It's-
felt like very like after school programming, like stay away from drugs, kid. It's like
Yeah.
look at how
Those are the most on the
But
nose
but I
moments.
do
Yeah.
like that it is a melting pot of these different people.
Yes.
and I like that it explores that, and I like that. It just is. Basically, just tracking shot the movie. It's just a
Yeah.
bunch of following these guys.
Yeah,
and they're just going through their school. The school feels so huge. You don't really. It's not concerned with getting to know these characters. It's not trying to be like a character study per se. It's more like, I think it's just a really interesting way to capture what the story is.
Yeah.
But also, I'm sure that Gus Van Sant and others, you know, who got this project going, were trying to say something about,
Oh, of course.
you know, the
Oh,
state
yeah.
of that, and I think that's admirable. I just think that some of the points are very outdated,
Yeah.
or very, in a way,
Over-
cringy or
yeah.
overly. I mean, also, I will say, like, hey, the music in this. Maybe this is the first thing to do it, but I've heard those songs so much throughout my
Wait,
life,
so
and
I
so
was
many.
gonna
I don't even
say-
know where I've heard it, but I know I've heard these songs.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah, I've
there's two things about this movie that would bother me if it wasn't any other movie. One is the piano piece Moonlight Sonata. I'm not bothered by it at all in this movie. And the second one is the typography of the text. You know what I mean? Like, it's like just a standard text if you make a Google Doc. But to me, it's
just
like
a standard font. It's just,
yeah. To me, it's like it's set in high school. It's like,
Exactly,
you know what I mean.
yeah.
That typography is like a Google Doc of a school project, and the,
Yeah, no, that wouldn't bother me at
and
all.
the piece Moonlight Sonata is like an easy piece to play that a lot of high schoolers play.
Yeah, that's
you know
the thing.
what I
I
mean.
also thought of that as well,
So
where it's
for
like,
me,
it's kind of
it's like-
excusable in a sense. Like, these are kind of cringy high schoolers that
Yeah.
would think like, oh, this is everything.
Yeah.
It's just like so deep, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in a way, I don't know if I can absolve all the critique from the adults. Because it's like, you could have done something else. Maybe. I don't know.
The principal?
Sorry. Absolve all of the blame from the filmmakers.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because I can see how it's excusable through that lens.
Yeah.
But it comes across as kind of cringy and cheap to me.
Yeah.
Another way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I see what you mean.
Yeah, I'm sure at this time, like, it wasn't, like, school shootings are kind of a I don't want to say a new phenomenon, but they didn't exist as frequently in other generations.
They're unfortunately very reoccurring in the past.
Like, now it's just like standard practice.
Yeah,
I mean, you were, if you want to tell the people.
Oh yeah, my riveting. It was just like there was a stabbing at my high school.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but that just happened. I mean, no one died.
On the daily.
On the daily.
Every single day you wanted.
Yeah, every day was war.
You lived in fear.
If you were to ask some people who grew up like just a couple of blocks down the road, we were a ghetto school, even though it's just. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about that. We can cut this if you want.
No, I mean, it's up to you.
No, I mean, I just don't know if I have anything to say about that.
Well, no, but obviously it's just, the point we're making is like, that's another example. Of course, nowhere near like as heavy and horrible as what happened like in this movie or in other like school shooting cases, but somebody was stabbed at a school. With it's a bunch of kids, like that's fucked, and it plays into what Chris was saying about how like unfortunately it's a thing that's happening.
So I will say there are things that I do want to discuss, and I want to know what you guys think about them.
Mm-hmm.
So very ending, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah,
but also it could be a thing where maybe he's also like rehearses like so many times where he's like, oh, I'm gonna be so cool about
exactly.
it. And he's like cringy, and he's like, this is my moment. Like, well. It's like, oh, come on.
No,
dude.
and also the other kid, like the kid that was with his girlfriend, he was just not that good of an actor. Like
a lot of the
his
kids
line
weren't
delivery.
great.
Yeah.
I even thought like
none of them were actors before this.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Just straight up.
Does this sound kids?
They
just
Gus Van Sant just walked into a high school.
And it's like, I have a movie I want to make. Who wants to be in it? No, that's cool.
All the kills were real.
Gosh.
No, but yeah, maybe I'm like I'm grasping at straws, but I'll just say what I thought immediately, like when it happened, when like the kid's taking a shower and the other two go and they start making out. That's what happened, right? So it's like I was thinking. Maybe I'm totally grasping at straws here, and this is not even supposed to be like a big point of thinking, but I looked at it like that made me think about one of the first scenes when they're in the circle talking about gay people, and they're talking about how can you spot a gay person? How can you spot a gay person?
Exactly.
I was like, are they trying to say can you spot like a school shooter? Can you spot? So you can't really.
That's a reasonable. Honestly, that's not that.
They all just are. These are just kids.
Yeah.
And then things happen, and you can't really spot one. And I was like, oh, that's kind of.
That's
cool.
Yeah,
would you kind of see?
I totally see that. And I missed that. No, that's a good catch.
Yeah.
That's a good catch.
Yeah, and I wanted to see if you guys have thought or if you had any ideas of what that could mean, because I know that everything doesn't have to have meaning in a sense where it's like, oh, what does this mean to this and this? That's not how stories have to be. Mm-hmm. Some are designed that way, and that's cool. But this doesn't feel like it's that way. But there are little details like I'm like, well, why would they include a little bit of gay thing? Cause I also thought about it like I don't think that movies have to be like representing like a culture in like a quote unquote a responsible way most of the time because it's just people telling stories. Yeah. But I was looking at it like, oh, I could totally see someone taking the wrong idea of this saying gay people are evil. Because people are kind of simple. Like simpletons is kind of rude, but people are really
they'll
dumb. And they'll be like, that's Van Sant. You're saying
totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Once they have that thought, they're like, oh, that's what it means.
They're gay people. They're wrong. They're weird.
It's unfortunate this movie wasn't made by a gay man. Gus Van Sant's gay.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
So really, it's a critique on himself.
Yeah, he just hates himself.
Gus Van Sant was this close to replicating this movie.
He was gonna do this at the Palm d'Or if he didn't win.
You know the Cannes Film Festival?
Oh God!
If he didn't get the palms,
that's why he won it.
Okay.
They were scared. They watched it. It was like, okay, we gotta put this. This has got to be the best one by default. We can't.
This is the real scandal.
It's like they had it ready for someone else, and like scribble out his name. Scribble out his name.
Gus Van Sant. He directed Good Will Hunting.
Anything else, Carlos or Mackenzie?
No, Mackenzie can go, but I just wanted to say that because I thought it was interesting that
Oh, absolutely. No, that's a good point.
Yeah, my biggest complaint with this is similar to what you said, Carlos, but it kind of just has some messy politics in it with the kids playing the video game and
Hitler.
Oh, that Hitler thing was cringy. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That was
Yeah.
like I could kind of see like, oh, they're trying to do something here with. But I was like, oh,
Fascism.
come on! It's like, dude. But
no,
sorry,
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
it's just kind of like looking back on it from now, just not how it really is, and it's kind of funny at the end of the movie where it says like, none of this movie was based on any real events or something, and if it was purely coincidence, but I would say
Columbine.
it's very much inspired by Columbine a lot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's one thing that like every movie has to have that in the credits. It's
Yeah,
not
no,
something that-
exactly,
yeah, it's like because
exactly.
they don't get sued.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. That kind of plays into what I said at the beginning, which is, you know, like talking about that video that I saw, which is like ignoring the obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is. Maybe that was intentional to say that. It's not. Not coincidental,
True.
because I think like there is kind of an ignorance towards these kind of things, like this brutality and like this. This
it's not
school
taken
shooting.
seriously.
Exactly.
And that's what
It's a joke.
these people's motivations are.
Mm-hmm.
Like their whole lives, especially in high school, like it's like, oh, you're not taken seriously, you know, and then that's why they feel this way.
Because I get what they were going for in like in the scene where they're all throwing the fucking toilet paper at him,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh come on, that's a little bit like
Yeah.
comedic. The amount of toilet paper he had in the back of like, oh come on, dude. But I get that you know it's a short movie, deliberately short. I'm assuming he really wanted to make it like this,
It needs
and
to be short.
I can see like how, you know, it's a big deal, like bullying, how that messes with young people, and how that can create, you know, so much anger to have an event like this happen. It's just like, to be fair, I don't even know like how could someone get the point of that across without feeling so much like an after school special.
Of course.
You know?
Well, that's kind of the truth.
But it did actually. Yeah. I wouldn't call it bad. Just so you know, like I actually like this like a good amount.
Yeah.
I was just kind of I was at odds with it, like going through it. I was like, oh man, like I like this. And I really like the way that this is actually executed and filmed and done, but there's so many things that like the politics of it, the cringiness of some of the things. The acting's not great from the kids, and it's really like, I guess that I like how it's so just matter of fact a day in the lives of these kids. I actually really enjoyed that aspect of it because it was never boring to me.
It's like a
No,
documentary.
And I was like, oh, this kid likes, you know. They all have their things, like he likes taking pictures. They're just living their lives.
Exactly.
The opening with the kid and his drunk dad. It's just for me, it's interesting. Stuff like that is interesting.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do much to like convey these things. Like, oh, this one girl doesn't like going to the gym, and it gave them all names. So I think in a sense to make it not make it easier, but like when they started dying, you're like, oh damn, like you're like they are like now they're just nothing. You know, like they're getting picked off one by one. And side note too, that I thought it was. I think it was like, how do I put it? When they recreated the FPS shot, I was like, okay, that's cool, and I see what you're doing, but that's cringy as fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it. Like I was like, because they deliberately made a point to show that first person shooter.
Yeah.
And like, okay, what kind of shitty game are you playing? Like, are they coding that? Like, what game is that? Maybe they couldn't afford to get an actual. Well, no one would want to put their game in this. Actually, never mind. And then I did like this is the way that was edited when they're like talking over what they're gonna do. When like
that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, but then that's when they included that first person shot, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, now you put too good of a like.
Come on, it's only for like a second.
Yeah.
Too fine of a point on this. It's like they put two.
It is a brief scene.
It is it's like half a second.
Yeah.
But I saw it and I was like, it really irked me. I was like, okay, good for you.
Okay.
It's like that's cool.
But Mac, sorry, we tangent there. But you said that's your one complaint.
That's just kind of my big thing that It's kind of like not even a complaint because like this was just made so long ago that like
you can't blame them.
yeah, exactly.
It's the immediate reaction to these what's happening. It's
I
like,
agree.
Of
And
course, video
the thing-
games make people violent.
Yeah.
Of course,
And the
in
thing
2003 speaking, you know what I
the
mean?
thing is, it's like this was made before that. Like you said, like you've seen all these things now. That's like, oh, video games make people like that. Those came after this movie or around the same time. You know what I mean? It's like, for me, it's like if we saw this in 2003, I don't know if we would have said that. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So.
No, it's something that was really weird that I keep seeing. Like, I was looking at like reviews of this when I first watched it, and people were saying that the blonde hair kid is schizophrenic, and the other kid's like kind of just the main one that like is doing the whole thing.
Wait,
sorry, I got lost in what do you mean? What are you talking about?
What do you says? The blonde kid, the second guy in the shooting.
The other shooter, not the blonde long hair. I was like,
not that guy. Not that guy.
So you're saying that the blonde kid?
That's what people are saying, like on reviews, and
he's schizophrenic.
That the blonde kid? So the blonde shooter.
Yeah.
The bleached shooter is schizophrenic.
The M&M kid.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Do they have reasoning?
I didn't even read into it, but I was just confused, and I was wondering if you guys...
Wait,
I didn't pick
They
up
were
on
saying
it.
schizophrenic, and that the other kid is
like
just normal. Well, normal.
The insane one, I guess.
That's interesting. Because, schizophrenic is like... I have to look. I should have stayed in the psychology field, but that does involve like hallucinations and kind of like lost sense of reality and stuff like that.
I think for someone to get to this point, they are losing sense of reality.
Exactly.
The idea of like just nonchalantly picking off people
but
like that.
Schizophrenic is pretty severe.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's interesting.
Exactly.
I wonder.
I just wondered if you guys saw it.
I mean, maybe that's in maybe one of the Columbine shooters was schizophrenic or something. I don't know.
I think I think people are just kind of
saying shit,
overanalyzing it or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's when I look at it like I don't. Some things can be analyzed,
of course,
but some things shouldn't be overanalyzed. That's the thing where when I brought up the point about the gay thing, I was like, maybe I'm looking at that too much, but I think there is enough there to actually.
I'd say that's just reasonable because that was like, I mean, obviously a lot of scenes in this are long takes, but like that specific conversation, it was in the middle of the circle, like kind of listening to them talking about it, and then the fact like he didn't have to make the two killers gay. He didn't have
not
to
at
do
all.
that.
Like, not at all. Unless it really is based on Columbine, and maybe the two guys were.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know enough
like
about
when you get to that moment, you're just, bro, may as well,
Yeah. Another thing that I want to say. Well, Chris, would you like to speak? I have one more point, but maybe you'll say.
But sorry, one thing, the schizophrenic thing, I don't know. I don't know well enough about like mental disorders like and to that extent. I just saw him as, he's also either being bullied or he's just has a fascination with guns and, they ordered him so easily. And I think that was also part of the politics of the movie. But I think that is true, though. It's like, you can go even back then, like, to order a gun. You can do it now. So that's different. But it's like, they're just angry kids. And he was telling that to his principal, Because I don't know if you guys heard it because the sound mixing, it was deliberate. But I picked up on it when he was yelling at the principal. When he was like, next time that me and I forget the other shooter's name.
Jerome or something.
No, it was not Jerome. I think it was Michael or something.
Next time.
Come on, guys, fuck off.
Alex. Next time me and Alex bring. I'm paraphrasing here, but he was saying it basically. Next time we bring to you real things about people getting bullied, you take this shit seriously. Yeah. This is what happens when you don't. This is what we have to do.
That's why you don't fuck with people like me and Alex.
Because this is what happens. And I'm like, okay, well that's. I looked at it more like that. It's just a symptom of what happens to youth when they have so much anger they don't know where to put it, and then through the advent of new age, like internet and seeing things, it just makes it easier to get something like this happen, especially nowadays even more. But that's just my soapbox moment, I guess. I don't know. But that's how I looked at it. I don't know about schizophrenia. I mean, maybe.
The only thing I found was maybe he's just stupid because there's a brief scene when Hitler's on TV and he
says, wait, that's Hitler?
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's just he's a dumb kid.
Okay, how do you not know who
Hitler is?
When you're in high school.
Dude, there are some dumb kids.
There are.
Dude, listen. No, I know, true, also, but that's such a loose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, the scene with the three popular girls, I don't know if I
hate it.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I hate it or if I think when they get to the bathroom and they start throwing up.
That's the part where I'm like, okay, that's just. Ridiculous.
I'm like,
that's stupid.
okay, really? What are you trying to? Like, is it really trying to make me like?
That's the only part of the movie where I'm like, okay, that's too far, and that's. So stupid. I hated that.
That's interesting.
It's actually a good visual. I like it. Like them closing the stall doors and just holding on it. But then I'm like, okay, they're throwing up. Like, okay, Gus Van Sant, let's just do one issue at a time.
I think.
Let's just try to tackle
Yeah,
one
no.
thing.
I
I don't know.
guess.
That's just me. I don't know if I
Well,
included that.
I don't
but-
like
yeah,
that.
okay, that's fair. To me, it didn't bother me that much, and especially because like I've known about people who like went to my high school and shit who like suffered
No,
from that
this
stuff.
this happened.
And
That's
so
for sure.
and
Like,
so that's why it's like, you know, I didn't see that as, I don't know, yeah, I could see that as like maybe trying too hard to like, I don't know, but for me it was kind of just like, interesting. It's just, this movie's just trying to be truthful and like trying to show these kids for who they are and, you know, like be blunt, you know what I mean? And it's like, so yeah, it's not like I was like moved by it, but I also didn't hate it. So yeah, I was kind of just like, okay, it's just a piece of the movie.
It's a piece of the
But I
movie.
could see why you guys would hate that.
I didn't like that. I would
That's
say
fair.
besides that, all the things you guys said you had problems with, I don't really have problems with them just because of when this movie was made, taking that into account. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, my brief thoughts are, unless you guys
Go ahead.
were
No, keep going.
in the middle of something.
No, I would basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very good. I don't remember when I first saw it, but like, you guys basically said everything I kind of was thinking. It's pretty obvious, this movie. So, I mean, once it's said, there's not much to really go off of, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I can see why people really don't like this movie, because this is a pretty controversial movie, at least when people's opinions of it.
Even a lot of the top reviews on Letterboxd are
Yeah.
like long ones of 0.5 stars, 1 stars.
Exactly.
Really?
Saying,
No,
well,
people-
I mean, the average is 3.6, so
Wait,
it's pretty high.
Do you know why? Is it just because
It
it's like...
seems like they think it's self-indulgent and it's like self-serious and PSA, kind of everything, but they look at it really,
Okay.
like it really rubbed them the wrong way.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's like, oh, this is a serious issue. It should be treated differently. I don't know how. Because I think this movie did a pretty good job, all things considered.
Yeah.
Maybe people think, like, I'm not even joking, they think it's too artsy in a way, where it's like make
guess.
it more clear,
Well, even
obvious what
then,
it's about.
You can. I mean,
Or just boring, probably. I'm sure people were like, oh, they're just walking.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I guess, but like that wouldn't explain the half stars. I think it has to do with something else.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
it's a guttural. It's a very guttural and brutal
Yeah.
movie. So
I was gonna say,
Well, some people like
it's an effed up movie.
some people really just don't like watching movies about like real world violence. They
Yeah.
also
True.
like some people really don't like seeing that. They really don't like.
When shit gets too real. When what's that Kendrick Lamar verse?
I don't know.
I don't.
When shit hits the fan, are you still a fan?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This guy quoting T-Pen?
I was gonna say maybe they hate it ironically because they think that this is, like you said, like indulgent and this encourages school shootings.
I don't know about that. I don't know about.
You don't know about that?
I wouldn't. Say, well, would you say people would say that it encourages like
People
like
are
Dude,
dumb.
honestly, yes.
that it like
People
traumatizes
were
it?
saying that Joker was encouraging school shootings.
that was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And also like having people telling me like, no, you don't know what happened at the Aurora shooting. Like the guy was dressed up as Joker. It's like, no, he wasn't. He was crazy. And then I had people from Cinemark telling me like, no, we got emails about it, and it's like, literally, that's just a rumor that will turn into like a snowball effect.
That was a killer clown, actually.
Oh my fucking.
Dude, those were real. My dad took me out hunting for them. It's true.
No, but I mean, I guess I could see people saying like this, like, I don't know, makes it like, because there's a difference between this and some shit like 13 Reasons Why, like season like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
Where-
that shit's good.
No, like, where that is like, the spike in teen suicide after that show came out raised through the roof. Like, it actually did the opposite effect. And then they tried tackling a school shooting in an entire season. It's a terrible show. But it's very funny.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing, but
It's very funny. And you're in it, so.
Shut up, motherfucker. That's not funny. Now I gotta put the face over my face.
Oh, sorry, that's just a tangent
No.
on 13 Reasons Why, seasons 2,
Sorry.
3, 4.
Yeah. Now tell us what you think
Yeah.
about 13 Reasons.
Yeah.
No, I never. Yeah, no. For me, all those problems don't bother me. Like I
Uh-huh.
said, the one thing about the girls puking is over the top.
Mhm.
I think the whole conversation is like, it's that thing that Carlos said where it's like, but for me, it's not as strong. It's
No,
like,
I can see, like, the defense on it. Like, yeah, they're literally high schoolers.
yeah, it's like okay, this is cringe, but like high schoolers
Are
are
cringe.
They
as
are.
fuck.
I was gonna say, like,
So it's
you know,
like,
those
it feels real.
It's
yeah,
like-
those popular girls definitely, like, they sound like stupid, and it does sound like a little bit written from a 30-year-old, but at the same time, dude, I swear on my life, in the lunchroom, I've heard girls talk like
Yeah.
that.
I
There's
guess, I
kind of
don't
real,
know.
and it's not like all of them are like
This
that.
like I
That's
think about shit like this, and then the writers who like wrote Cyberbully, and it's
No.
almost like the same. Like,
Come on.
I don't.
no, as far as like the actual discussions that the teenage girls have, like, are you going to the mall today? You gotta go do this.
No, I get it. I get
But like,
it.
it is different.
But-
and the movie's not about that. You know
Of
what I mean?
course,
So
yeah.
it really isn't like the biggest thing. It just
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, so sorry.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Oh yeah, me? I mean, yeah, no, I think the same thing I did about it. Very good. Not crazy about it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like thrilled to the brim, you know what I mean? But I like it, and it's I don't want to say good watch because that sounds messed up, but like it's
No, I thought about. I could watch this again.
exactly.
Actually,
yeah.
it's like
It's short.
I remember before the movie started, I said it's an easy watch.
You did say that, and I was like, "What do you mean?
Uh-huh.
The school shooter movie?" But then I watched it. I was like, "No, it's actually."
Yeah.
Despite like I was tense throughout because like okay, I know where this is gonna go,
It's tense.
and it is tense in that sense. But then I just kind of got lost with the movie. It's like no, right now we're following him and he's developing his pictures.
Mhm.
Right now we're following the girl who
Mhm.
like doesn't like she wears pants at PE. Now we're following the cliquey girls. Now we're I don't know, just seeing these students, and it just feels like a huge community. Like well, it's gonna break at any moment,
Mm-hmm.
and then it does, and then
Yeah.
it's just kind of very matter of factual.
Yeah, and it's a movie that like you don't really, at least for me, like I don't think about it because it's like okay, at that point just watch it because it's so short and because it's so like you said, matter of fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
And there really is some striking things about it as far as filmmaking goes.
Yeah,
I really love the
really,
visuals.
Really.
Depth of field is so nice,
Mhm.
and I love that this is like filmed. I'm sure I couldn't tell because of compression, of the YouTube, but
Yeah.
I'm sure this is probably filmed digitally at that point. But it looks good. All the
Yeah.
lighting,
No,
the
yeah.
shadows, the natural lighting. Probably. I mean, I'm sure there was lighting on the set, but actually
I,
maybe not because there were so many long takes,
Yeah.
and I feel like.
No, it could definitely be
And
natural.
I even appreciated the little like how do I put it? Like the little converging plot lines. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
It's nothing crazy, but it's like a nice little touch.
yeah.
Mhm.
Very Tarantino-esque.
Hmm.
It's like Pulp Fiction.
No, I
it's
see
like,
what you
it's like,
mean.
it's like
Yeah.
Jackie Brown. It's
I
like,
totally see what you mean.
like the things converging, and it's like, oh, here we see it from this point of view, this point of view, this point of view. And some people may find that redundant. I found it pretty interesting and
Yeah.
pretty well constructed.
Yes.
I agree.
No,
You know what
I
mean?
totally
And
agree.
I think that's why he did it that way.
Yeah.
Despite my issues, I overall like it a good
Yeah.
amount. Maybe even think it's great, but
Mhm.
I'll have to sit with it for a bit.
Yeah, no.
But glad we watched it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, definitely a good watch. Better than Red Shoes, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
I almost immediately knew this was gonna be better than Shoes.
Yeah.
Three more things before I probably got to call it.
3 more things.
First thing, Mackenzie, what did you think about the
Red
girls
shoes.
throwing up? What did you think about the red shoes? What did you think about the girls throwing up?
I have no problem with that. I think that's
Okay,
fine.
I was just curious because I didn't hear it.
Yeah,
I didn't hear your opinion.
I think there really are girls like that, and sure, it might just be kind of
That's true.
why is that needed in the movie?
No, for me it was more the way it was done.
Yeah.
No, for me it was like, I think like it's like they're talking about it, and then for me that, and then it just kind of cuts, or no, it doesn't cut. It just kind of
It
shows.
follows them and it shifts down to the ground, and
Yeah,
then
it's just
they
like-
all in sync open the doors.
Yeah,
they all come back at the
exactly.
same
I think
time.
at this
and
point,
they go,
though, they just do that so much that it's just so routine for them.
Sure. I
I
mean, that's the
guess
way to
so.
look at it too.
Yeah,
I,
I mean-
I only know like how would I have done it. I would have followed the camera to the girl's sign, but even that was pretty cringy as shit. Now thinking about that,
Yeah.
and I would just you would put the audio, have the camera linger there, and,
Yeah.
and just hear them throwing up.
I don't know
from the
how you would
outside.
fit that
I don't
into
know.
the movie. Like I said, like it's not what they're trying to display that I have a problem with it. Because what they're trying to display, it's like,
It happens.
yeah,
Real.
it happens. It's messed up, and it's important to capture.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know how you would have done it. I can't think
You
of
just
how
feel
you
like it
would have done
doesn't quite fit in the movie.
I feel like it doesn't fit in the movie particularly. I mean, I feel like maybe you could find a way to put that in somehow, but it's more just the execution, I guess.
Mhm.
That it's just so like
No,
I
yeah,
don't know.
I understand.
But yeah,
Okay, so yeah, two more things. The second thing that I was going to bring up was one of my favorite scenes in the movie was near the very beginning, which is when, well, it kind of goes into play with what you were saying, Carlos, about like these kind of timelines converging. Is you hear it's when they're out on the football field and those kids are playing football, and it's like the kids like practicing cheerleading and everything. And it was that was a really long take.
Yeah, very
And
long.
I found it interesting for multiple reasons. Because one thing, that was like a very inviting atmosphere, because not only we talked about how this was shot and how this kind of makes you feel like you are there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it is a very personal thing. And so I find it interesting how like that long take of, it's lunchtime. And like every student's doing their own thing. There's a kid playing a guitar under a tree. There's
Mhm.
kids
There's
like
kids making
running around.
out.
Yeah, there's kids making out. There's all this stuff, which is very. I mean, that's high school. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's very real. But the interesting thing was you hear that piano going over it, then that's probably not only just like a good tone setter and also like it mixes well with the scene, but also maybe at the same time it was the kid playing piano at his house, you know, so it's another sign of like all these things happening at once. You know, like all these things are converging. It's going to happen.
Think about it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You mean like when the piano creeps in, it's like it could be that at the same moment it's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the kids are driving.
I mean, yeah, it could, yeah.
It could be. I find that interesting, and I really did like that scene. I feel like alone is like kind of what got me involved because I was just like, I see what it's doing here.
Also, one thing that I like about the converging lines as well, it's like I remember like, you know, back in high school, we're all in our own world so much, but everybody there has their own story. You know, they're all in like even a simple thing like, you know, the curly haired chick was rushing to the library because she wanted to help put the books away. That's what she was running. That's what she was doing her own thing. The two guys were just sharing a moment. You know, just shooting the shit. It's like everybody's living in their moments right there, and it's all real. It's all tangible.
But they all share the same fate, except for the one kid. But you know, it's like they all end up kind of falling under the same horrible act. You know,
I mean, it all happens to all of them. You know, and even so when they start like dying, I'm like, damn, this is happening. Like,
it's it. Yeah.
The fact that it's filmed so real and matter of fact is adds to it because it's like.
And also, I really appreciate the use of the score. It wasn't like there was like some fucking like tense music,
dramatic.
like a dramatic sting.
Yeah,
like cause I was really nervous I was gonna do that.
No,
like it would cut to them with the guns like dun dun.
Yeah, that would have.
It was like dun, dun,
you just
dun, dun.
That I also thought he was doing the Jaws theme for a second.
Oh, like dun 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 dun. No, that was playing in my head. No, but
this movie's boring. Just starts thinking it's
boring as fuck. I was on my phone watching Smiling Friends the whole time.
Shut up.
And one more thing. Oh shit. No, just I knew from the beginning like there's gonna be something special. Even just that shot of the car driving and he hits the car.
Yeah.
And his dad is drunk. His drunk dad. It's so hazy. It's so I don't know. It feels kind of otherworldly in a way.
Yeah.
And it was a good tone setter. Yeah. It just looked good even through the YouTube compression. And also, one thing I wanted to bring up. And I didn't know how you guys would feel about it, but is the title literally as simple as just not address the elephant in the room? Is that literally what the title is? Sure. Do you guys have any idea what do you think it means?
I'd say so. I mean, I don't think it's
based off the short film called Elephant.
Which is about shooting.
About shooting, but like, why do you think it's called Elephant though? I looked at it. I was like, maybe we're not. There's an elephant in the room. Like the whole time, there's something. Yeah. There's a feeling of creeping dread, and we're not acknowledging it. And then we only acknowledge it when it all comes to a head.
That's
and even at the end when the kid sees he's like, hey, don't go in there. Don't go in there. No one gives a shit. They're gonna go in there.
Well, that's why I said I think it's kind of good to go into this knowing that it's a school shooting because like that helps you that's kind of what helped me understand like wow like this is just a day in the life and yet you know like it's like no matter you can't ignore it no matter how normal this day is for all these students for all these people. It's not. And
the thing is, the blonde kid with the yellow shirt, you can't do anything. He can't do anything. What's he supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly.
It's really sad. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
No, it's definitely... It was gutting to me.
To me, it's sad.
Yeah, no, it was definitely...
For me, it didn't have that, visceral gut, pit in my stomach feeling. Maybe because the filmmaking was so striking to me. But also towards the second half of the movie... My complaints were bothering me more and more. It just kind of kept building, the little things that were irritating me. So I kind of got out of the experience and started looking at it more as a movie and not an experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you.
And then, but now talking about it, I think it is pretty good. Very good.
Good movie.
Yeah, no, but you guys have nothing else in the title? You think, that's probably...
It's pretty reasonable. I mean,
I think that's what it could be.
We see a picture. We see a drawn photo of an elephant in the kid's room, but I don't think there's anything beyond that.
And also, I thought about it too because I don't know if you guys noticed or picked up on it, but when we're following some of the kids before the thing actually happens, you see the two boys outside walking. They're in the corners. They're in the shots. We just not looking at them. We're too focused on the kids. And it's like, oh, they're always there. They're lingering. It's the elephant in the room that no one's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, no.
At least that's my take on the...
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I figured. That was my take on it as well.
I always kind of said, it's probably... Or I always thought it was just elephant just because it's, it's just kind of random teen indifference. Just,
Really?
whatever.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, I never thought about it too much.
Mhm.
It's just like kind of, what are you gonna call it? I don't know, something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it immediately as
something that's not like too revealing of what
like
happens in the
shooting,
movie. Yeah,
or like shot.
exactly.
Bang.
bang. Yeah, because I immediately thought like, oh, elephant in the room. 'Cause that
No,
phrase is
that-
so.
that
I
totally
assume
makes
so.
sense.
I totally assume so.
Yeah.
But the last thing I was gonna say, which was the brief character, which I really liked that choice was Benny,
Yeah.
which
Really?
was the kid at the very end, the black kid. I really find that interesting because like his introduction is just like he's not running, he's just slowly walking through the halls, he's seeing all this happening. He walks into the classroom with the dead kid on the ground and he helps Claudia, I think was her name, he helps that girl
Yeah, lead
out.
to the window.
He
Yeah.
turns around and he starts walking towards the shooter. And it's not like it was some, I was thinking like, is this going to be some moment where it's like, oh, he's going to try
He's
to
the
kill?
superhero.
the
No, I
superhero.
really thought it was.
I was worried,
Yeah.
but then like he like kind of just gets closer, and he's turned around and he's shot, and that's it. And it's as simple as that. And I find that so interesting. Like he was unmoved by it. You know what I mean? And this might be a stretch, what I'm saying, but like that could even be a representation of like some kids that are just like they don't care either. You know what I mean? Like this, like they're willing to help, but it's not like they're willing to like run for their lives or something.
Yeah, as a kid, you just don't care.
Exactly. You're kind of just like,
Yeah, no, I didn't think about it. Like,
You know,
to tell you the
doesn't
truth,
matter.
I'm glad you brought the Benny thing up because I had the opposite reaction at first when it came up. I was like, okay, we're getting a new title card. Like, this is gonna be an important thing. Like, is he gonna like to have a hero moment? Is he gonna do that?
thank God.
And initially when that happened, I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. I mean, it would probably be a bit contrived and cheesy, but maybe I was so like I was searching for a little bit of happiness at the end. Where I was like, okay, I'll take it. Actually, I think I would like that. And then when he walks up and he gets fucking shot, I'm like, oh, never mind.
That's how it
It's
is.
over. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe that was a better choice.
It
And
was.
we do
That
not
was
see
probably
that
the better
character
choice.
at all
No.
until his whole long take. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah, I genuinely really find that interesting.
It's-
It is interesting. It's interesting placement.
Yes.
And actually, it's
pretty amazing the fire door as well in that scene. The door's
Yeah.
on fire. It's just like this is just like hell on earth at that point.
Oh yeah.
And he's just walking through it so calmly.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, those are all my thoughts.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else to say? Okay.
I think so. Oh, do we want to go over scores or we don't do that?
I mean, I think I'm going to give it a pretty strong 7. I don't know if I'll give it an 8, but a
I'm
pretty
gonna
strong
give
7.
this red shoes out of 10.
Cool. Okay.
I'll
You said
give
your piece, you can say.
I would probably a pretty strong 3.5 to maybe even a 4.
Out of 10.
Yeah, 3.5 or a 4 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to think about it.
For me, I'm between a 7 and an 8. I'm gonna go an 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm between a. If I'm gonna give this a 6, it's gonna be a strong 6. If I'm gonna give this a 7, it's gonna be a light 7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I gave it initially. Probably a 7.
looks like
and I lowered.
Yeah.
I
into
have it at
6.
3 stars right now.
I don't know, one of those two, but definitely good, very good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Happy to watch it again.
Cool. Well then, thus concludes Elephant.